Hey guys, today I'm going to be comparing the Bloody A60 with the glorious Model O as well as the Roccat Kain 120, and we're going to be figuring out the best one for drag clicking. First up is going to be the Bloody A60. I gotta say, this mouse it's something else. It's unlike any other mouse I've ever used. This mouse is really heavy. It's 120 grams, which is just about twice the weight of a Model O, a little bit less. And it takes about 10 grams of force to click the mouse button, which that's pretty average. In terms of performance, it drag clicks great. I was getting, 30 to 40 CPS, sometimes 50, which is kind of insane. There's no need for that many clicks per second, but you can have it if you want. You just gotta buy this mouse. I was actually a little disappointed when it came to the butterfly clicking. I was getting more like 15 to 20. Sometimes I was getting above 20, but for the most part, it wasn't anything incredible. Up next is the Roccat Kain 120, and I gotta say, I was actually pretty impressed with this mouse. Now, the mouse itself weighs about 86 grams, so significantly lighter than the Bloody A60, and it takes about 10 to 11 grams of force to click. Now, on average, I was getting about 25 to 35 CPS, which is pretty good. It's not obviously quite as much as the Bloody A60, but it's still really impressive. The thing I was most surprised about is that I was getting like easily 25 CPS, and sometimes more than that, butterfly clicking, which is kind of crazy. Most people can get about 20 consistently on a good day, but this mouse was easily doing 25. If it had bigger mouse buttons, I think it would be probably my go-to for butterfly clicking, but the mouse buttons are a little bit small, so for someone like me, I have larger hands, so it's a bit harder to butterfly click, but it still works really well, and I can still get insane amount of CPS. Up next, we have the Model O, and this mouse is hugely popular. You could ask a lot of people and they'd probably tell you it's the best mouse for Minecraft. It's definitely the most widely used mouse for Minecraft, I'd say, just because of how much hype it's gotten. Now, the mouse weighs an incredibly light 66 grams, which is one of the lightest mice out there. As well as it being light, the clicks are also very light. It took about 5 to 7 grams of force to click the buttons, which is significantly lighter than the other two, which average around 10. Despite this, I have to say this mouse does not live up to any of the hype. I was pretty disappointed after comparing it to the other two. It did drag click and it did register plenty of double clicks, but I was getting like 20 CPS, which is still an incredible amount of CPS, but I had higher expectations considering the amount of hype it got. And honestly, butterfly clicking was even worse. I was getting like 15 CPS, 16 CPS, which is good for some people, but compared to the other two mice, both of which are cheaper, it's, it doesn't compare at all. Something else that's a bit disappointing is I used to use this mouse as my main mouse for a while, and I would drag click on right click all the time, and it is worn out so much. The right click is significantly lighter than the left click. It was about 3 grams of force to click the right click, which is insane. That should not be that light, especially after only, I'd probably say, a couple months of use. And I've definitely used my other mice for just as long, and they have not worn down at all, or not nearly as much as the Model O has. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, besides the fact that I have too much time on my hands, I think I'll start with the Bloody A60. This mouse is great for drag clicking and for getting CPS. Other than that, I hate it. If you just showed me this mouse, I would not have bought it. If I didn't know anything about it, I would never buy this mouse, not in a million years. It's sharp, it's hard to hold. It's not very comfortable or smooth. You can see all these rough edges on the mouse. It's just very sharp and jagged, which I don't know who decided that. It doesn't seem very well built. It's fine, obviously, it's held up for quite some time and it's held up through a lot of abuse, but it just seems cheap, and it's also very heavy, which I know is not a big deal for a lot of people, but for some people that matters. In terms of butterfly clicking, it did okay, but honestly, not as good as the Kain 120. This thing is incredible for drag clicking, and for everything else, it's okay. Now onto the Kain 120. This thing it's great. It's a really nice mouse. It's really well built. I haven't had any problems with it besides the fact that the buttons are kind of small. That's like the size of my finger. Although I have larger hands, so if you have small hands, it might not be a problem for you. Butterfly clicking was incredible. If it had bigger buttons, this would be like the go-to mouse for butterfly clicking. I could get 25 CPS butterfly clicking easily on this mouse, whereas the other mice, I sat around 15 to 20 pretty consistently. In terms of drag clicking, it's still great. It's not as good as the A60. You can still get pretty decent drags. I was getting 30 CPS. It was still very, very good. It's just not quite as good as the Bloody A60. If this was an overall mouse review, I would probably say this one would beat the A60. Now on to the most overhyped mouse ever. It's not a bad mouse. The Model O, it's fine. It works. You can get double clicks out of it for Minecraft. If this was a review for like general gaming, if you play other games and stuff besides Minecraft, I'm sure this is probably a decent mouse for everything, and I wouldn't stop you from buying it. But if you're just playing Minecraft, if you're looking for a mouse for drag clicking, do not go anywhere near this mouse. Even for butterfly clicking, it performed way below the other two mice, as well as after a while of use, because I used to use the Model O for a long time, the right click got worn down so much, and it wouldn't butterfly click as much as the left click, which isn't like a huge deal, but it just kind of shows that maybe the build quality isn't the greatest on this compared to the other two mice, which have withstood. I mean, other than that, it's not a bad mouse, and it's super light, so if you want a light mouse, get the Model O, and it will work for the bare minimum. But other than that, if you're drag clicking, you're trying to get double clicks, don't go with this mouse. It double clicks, just not nearly as well as the other mice, and especially since the other mice are usually cheaper than the Model O. Pick one of these two, and you will be fine. If you're just drag clicking, if you're just trying to get those tele-clutch clips, pick this up. You're trying to get 60 CPS, pick this mouse up. If you're just trying to play Minecraft and goof around, have a good time, but also get some pretty sick clips, grab this guy. Either way, they will both do very well, and good luck, Godspeed, and you should quit the game. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe, obviously, because I put a lot of work into this video, and I would cry if you didn't.